All right, so I'm gonna go over the most controversial book ever written, but it is the truth, and I just figured I mean, I've been talking about it now for 8 years, since I woke up, about how the God of the Bible, Quran, and Torah, Jehovah, Yahweh, and Allah are all the God of Abrahamism. They're all the same. It's the same God, Rex Mundi, King of the world, who is actually Satan. That's the Armageddon conspiracy. So, what I am endeavoring to do with all of this work is, like in a single generation, to clear up generations of brainwashing and religious control and mind control and just oppression, tyranny, all of that. I am looking to get rid of all of that with enlightenment. So, this book is called Jehovah, the world's first Nazi. This may be the most controversial book ever published. It does the unthinkable. It puts Jehovah on trial for his life for conspiracy against the human race, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. All of the charges that were brought against the Nazis at the Nuremberg trials could equally be leveled against Jehovah. All of the atrocities of the Holocaust are prefigured in the Jewish Bible, meaning that morally, Judaism must be put in the dock just as Nazism was. The evidence against Jehovah, furnished by direct quotations from the Bible, is overwhelming and unarguable. His guilt can be established beyond any reasonable doubt. This monster attempted to exterminate the entire human race in the event known as the Flood. He allowed 8 chosen people to survive, Noah and his family. So given that the survivors were handpicked by him, why was humanity again fallen into total evil? This time, it was nothing to do with Adam and Eve. This time, it was entirely Jehovah's responsibility and choice. So this is saying that basically, the evidence against Jehovah of being like on the definitely the equal level of the Nazis, for all the atrocities, war crimes, conspiracy against the human race. That's what Jehovah has done, and like with wiping out all of the human race, because we were sinners and evil and bad, and we had fallen from divinity and grace, by what Adam and Eve did, and they sinned by eating the apple, and then the whole rest of humanity was condemned to hell. But only if you accepted the intermediaries of that religion are you able to get into paradise. Which that is definitely not what I subscribe to, because my search for God has definitely gone for 39 years in this life. And that search for God led me to the enlightened ones. And this information that I have been divulging for 8 years now is the information of the Pythagorean Illuminati, who have figured out the grand unified theory of everything, which definitely unites all aspects. Which, their material is full of intellectual content, and the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran is filled with no intellectual content. It's all mythos and parables, stories, and all of that. And that's what the world's mythos religions are based upon, are stories and parables in old dusty books and old bearded prophets in the desert that are actually like psychopathic, because Abraham is the world's first psychopath. You know, hearing a voice in his head telling him to slit his son's throat, and him willingly being obedient to do it. Like, if you ask anyone in the world, if they heard a voice in their head to tell them to kill their son, they would say no, unless they were a psychopath. So that is part of the clearing up that needs to be done. And just these stories, like Abraham, the trial of Abraham is just one place you can go to see the deranged, like tyrannical, just murderous, genocidal God. You know, so this book is all about putting God on trial. Jehovah. When I say God, like, I say the God that 4 billion people subscribe to, because they are the religions of the books. And those religions are false. Illumination is a logos religion. It's the only religion based on logos, the left brain, intellectual content. You know, so it explains everything instead of using, you know, parables of wisdom and stuff written by men 2,000 years ago. It's a dialectical religion of logos, which means it's evolving. The religions of the book are not evolving. Like, they are keeping people locked in to a old paradigm that keeps us actually in this time we're in, because we're not advancing. As long as we are giving our power away and stuff to Jehovah, Yahweh, and Allah, we will not advance. So there's 4 billion people that put their faith in this tyrant, and that's what keeps the world locked in the state it's in, and wars, of all that. And this is what enlightenment is coming to this realization. The answer to the riddle is that Jehovah himself is irredeemably evil. The ancient Gnostics long ago concluded that the God of the Old Testament was the devil. Why has the rest of the world been so slow on the uptake? I know why. That's because they eliminated the Gnostics. They made the Gnostics the minority religion. You know, the Templars had that, were Gnostics, and they exterminated them, and to get out any inclinations of actually the true religion. The Pythagorean Illuminati, the oldest secret society on earth, are Gnostics. And here they present the prosecution of the most evil being in history, Jehovah, the torture god, the terror god, Satan himself. Do not read this book if you are an Abrahamist. This book is only for rational, intelligent, open-minded people prepared to accept facts. The facts are those presented in the Bible and believed by billions. They show that for thousands of years, humanity has been worshiping not God, but the devil. So, you know, the facts are actually in the Bible, you know, where God's exterminating human races, you know, condemning the human race to hell, you know, committing genocide on people by promising, you know, a certain people a land, and then there being a war over that land and killing all those people to take it over. Like that doesn't really sound like God to me. That sounds like the devil. So this is the God of the Bible, you know, that 4 billion people subscribe to. And the same God of the Old Testament is the same God of the New Testament. Because in the story, God sends himself into the world as his son and then sacrifices himself. and that's kind of crazy. You know, that's kind of crazy. So I mean, these things are made up to keep people locked into the Demiurge, which is a reincarnational trap. So like the only way out is to come to the truth, and religion is part of that, and clearing up Abrahamism is part of that, and introducing illumination and illuminism is part of that. This book is written in a polemical style, in keeping with the need for humanity to be shocked into waking up to the dreadful truth at the heart of our world. Evil is everywhere because all Abrahamists are devil worshippers. You don't believe us? Read the case for the prosecution. Change your life. Turn to the light of the true God, Abraxas. Which Abraxas is beyond good and evil. Like that is what the true God actually is. So this is like, for anyone that's seeking the truth, will find it in my words. They'll find illumination coming out of my mouth because I've been illuminated. And it's my sacred mission, as it is the Illuminati's, to enlighten the people of the world so that we can raise up out of the wasteland that we are in, out of the world of common day, out of slavery and into freedom. So this is, I've gone over many different topics, and this is just going over like the religious aspect, just so people can start to question the religion that they have been following, because I used to be a Christian in my search for God. I used to be a Christian because I've always searched for God, and that's what led me to writing my book, where I found the Illuminati, and then I was enlightened. And then I actually found the true God, which was not the God that I believed was God, which is the God of the Bible and the Torah and the Quran, who is evil. Like it's just something people have to wake up from. Otherwise, we're not going anywhere. Strictly speaking, Judaism is not religion at all, but only a collection of merely statutory laws supporting a political state. And that was Immanuel Kant who said that. And if anyone who's Jewish hears me say this, they're gonna hate me, and they're gonna think I'm from the devil, and they're like I'm going to hell. Anyone that is Islamic is gonna think the same thing. They're thinking I'm going to hell. Anyone that's a Christian will also think that I need Jesus and that I'm going to hell. I did at one time accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, going to find God when I was a Christian. But then I renounced my faith and then came into knowledge, because knowledge is definitely more powerful than faith. Because faith is like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know, but I just know that something has it, and it's true. Something does have it under control, because God is, I not only believe in God. God is inevitable through mathematics and ontological mathematics, because the universe is made up of actual mathematics. That is what Pythagoras defined as the arc. The fundamental substance of the universe is mathematics and numbers. The Jews are all the moral geniuses among nations by virtue of their capacity for despising the human in themselves more than any other people. Okay, that was Friedrich Nietzsche. And, with Judaism being a statutory law supporting a political state, that's what's up, though, because they have like over 600 laws they got to follow, not turning on the lights on Sunday and stuff, or else, they're going to hell. And, they're sitting there just praying at the Wailing Wall, just kind of crazily, kind of definitely crazily. But little do the Jews know that they're actually worshiping the devil. I have never met a German who was favorably inclined to the Jews. Okay. Now, that was Nietzsche too. Nietzsche. About the Germans and Nazism and stuff. What they were doing, like with exterminating the Jews, which was not the right thing to do to do what they were doing. Which the Nazis were Gnostic, but they were obviously took it to a fanatical level with Hitler. And Hitler exterminated all the Jews and was looking to do that to actually kill God, to exterminate God, the Jewish God, Jehovah, Allah, and Yahweh. That was actually part of what they were doing. It wasn't so much racial, like white, like we're white, and it was more they were killing the Jews because of their God, which is Satan. The Jews took a different view of anger from that held by others and sanctified it. In Nietzsche. And I am definitely not condemning, or I'm not what's the word I'm like for? I'm not supporting what the Nazis did. That they were Gnostic, I am Gnostic. So, but I don't. The final solution isn't killing every single person that believes in the God of the Bible, Torah, and Quran. The persecution of God. The Holocaust is rightly regarded as one of the greatest horrors ever perpetrated. What no one ever discusses is that every tactic used by the Nazis was previously sanctioned by the Jewish God against non-Jews, and even against the Jews themselves. Yeah, it's just crazy because that's true. I mean, God, the Jewish God is just killing everybody, and then just killing everybody that's even Jewish too. Like, condemning everybody to hell. The Nazis did not do a single thing not already trialed by Jehovah thousands of years earlier, including genocide, Holocaust, and extermination. If the God of the Jews had Zyklon B 3,000 years ago, he would certainly have used it. After all, he was perfectly happy to annihilate Sodom and Gomorrah with fire and brimstone. So why not with hydrogen cyanide poison gas? There is no moral difference, simply a difference in the technology of delivering death. He was perfectly happy to drown the whole world, apart from 8 people and some animals in an ark. Is drowning any better than being gassed to death in a fake shower? The Nazis concentrated on Jews. Jehovah chose to attack the entire human race. So the great moral questions of our time are these. Should anyone have any sympathy for the Holocaust Jews, given that they believed in a God who committed endless atrocities against the human race, and that they did not once raise a voice in condemnation of their deity? This is important because it's like, it's saying like, should we be having sympathy for the Jews, even though their God committed endless atrocities against the human race. Flood, the genocide of the land of Canaan, condemning everybody to hell. We will shortly present the staggering list of crimes approved of, or personally perpetrated by Jehovah. If the Nazis were put in the dock and found guilty of crimes against humanity, why isn't Jehovah? Why aren't the beliefs of the Jews tried at Nuremberg and pronounced as guilty as the beliefs of the Nazis? The more that Hitler's actions in World War II are compared with Jehovah's in the Old Testament, the more suspicion forms that Hitler was an avatar of Jehovah, whose specific task was to visit upon the Jews the very horrors that Jehovah had vowed to use against them millennia earlier. To call the Jews the chosen people is like saying that a juicy lobster has been chosen by someone in a restaurant who wants it to be boiled alive in the next 2 minutes for his dinner. So that's going into, the Jews being the chosen people. Like what makes them the chosen people? Who's making them the chosen people? It's Jehovah, right? But Jehovah is not God, not the true God. It's the devil. And the Jews are not the chosen people. There are no chosen people. As soon as you say you're a chosen person, you are immediately separating yourself from everybody else. The Zionist media controllers shut down all serious debates about the morality of Judaism. But fortunately, we don't need their permission to put their God on trial via this medium. For the first time in modern age, we will provide a rational, evidence-based persecution of Jehovah. And we want all rational people to make sure that this debate reaches every corner of the world, because it addresses the central issue of religion. What type of God is acceptable to the human race? So this is saying, the central religion is actually a paradigm, and we need a paradigm shift. And religion is one of the meta paradigms that are contained within the paradigm shift, and that's what the Illuminati are doing with each topic: religion, politics, economics, psychology, philosophy, science, mathematics, metaphysics, all of that grand unified theory of everything, explained in 270 books. And it is just, once you read these books, you cannot deny you cannot deny the intel and the information, and you will get enlightened. Like, you will see the light. There can be no conceivable doubt that the Abrahamists, the Jews, Christians, and Muslims have preferred to worship the devil rather than God. And I know they're like, people that are Jewish, Christian, and Muslim, Islam, unless they're actually searching for truth, they will be able to hear these words. But if they're not, they're automatically going to take offense to them, and they're going to think I'm going to hell, condemning me to hell, that I need Jesus Christ. And that's what those religions do. While the real truth seekers are learning about how to get out of the deluge and the reincarnational trap that everybody's caught in, because you're gonna keep coming back here as long as you believe, as long as you're a Christian, a Jewish, or a Muslim. Because you didn't learn what you needed to learn to go to the next level. We will prove that it was Judeo-Christian itself that corrupted Germany, one of the greatest nations in the history of the world. The Holocaust was the inevitable consequence of Abrahamist conditioning, brainwashing, and mind control. Had Germany enjoyed 2,000 years of Gnostic paganism, it would never have perpetrated the Holocaust. It wasn't the swastika that caused the Holocaust, but the Star of David and the Christian cross. The Holocaust victims in the German nation were both the prey of the evil gospel of the tortured God of Israel. So this is saying that what caused the Holocaust was actually the Star of David and the Christian cross, which are satanic religions. It's time for a grown-up debate. It's time to put unacceptable beliefs in the dock rather than respecting them. The believers think that mere mention of God in a sentence should command absolute shock and awe, and all voices should fade to a reverential whisper. We say that it's not the word God that should be respected, but the actions of God. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. If those actions are in fact evil, humanity is duty-bound to resist any such God. We gotta resist. We gotta resist the God of Abraham. You know what I'm saying? Because this God is the same God that tells people to kill their sons, go to other lands, take them over, flooding, the world, killing everybody in it, condemning everybody to hell. Like, this is the wake-up call. We gotta wake up, because the truth is that we are God. We are God. There is no sky daddy in the sky that is like a master spy God that sees everything, knows everything. And besides, actually, like you are God, so you can know everything. Because there was actually a book called The Last Man Who Knew Everything. And he was a Grand Master of the Illuminati. Is God legitimate or illegitimate? That is the question. Any deity can call himself God, even the falsest God, which is true because the greatest trick of the devil is Christianity. The greatest trick of the devil is calling himself God. So when you think you're with God, and you're having and especially if you're worshiping the God of the Bible, Quran, and the Torah, that is not God. It's Satan. Jehovah called all other gods false. Why did he do that? Because he's like, you are not even going to try to learn about anything else, or else you're going to hell. We are now raising the question whether he himself was the falsest of all, the cosmic imposter, the deluded narcissist who imagined himself God when he was actually the opposite, the devil. And the Abrahamic God it's an egregor. It's an actual thought form that's is held by billions of people that keeps us from advancing. So we my mission is like being a missionary for illumination, like being a prophet for illumination, going around and spreading this word, like the Illuminati's words, against the word of God, like against the books, the books, because those books in the future, they're going to be gone, because people will have evolved and those religions will have died out. Every year, millions of baby boys are physically assaulted and have their foreskins chopped off without even the suggestion that any consent is required from them, even though they have to live with the consequences for the rest of their lives. If the operation is done wrongly, it can cause disease, serious tissue damage, make the penis grow bent, and cause it to lose all sensitivity. So that's talking about, circumcision. A Jewish thing is that's pretty evil. come into the world, have their foreskins chopped off without any consent. It's not up to the child. They're just boom. They're marked by the devil. I guess you could call a circumcision the devil's mark. So this procedure can, in many cases, ruin the baby's prospects of a satisfying adult sex life. Not a single voice, bar that of the Illuminati, is raised anywhere on the earth against this barbarous, unnecessary, and utterly offensive practice that contradicts all enlightened thinking regarding the avoidance of child abuse. We alone stand for the absolute protection of children from the deranged beliefs of their parents. All children should be protected by law from religion until they are in a position to make their own well-informed decision and choices regarding their lives. That's actually an answer to the religious brainwashing of the parents and stopping the continuance of the satanic religions, like by letting by law, from religion. They're protected by law, meaning they can't be influenced by religion until they're actually at an age where they can make a decision for themselves. Would the true God order parents to slice off the foreskins of baby boys for no reason at all, other than to brand them as members of his religion? Would he sentence people to destruction for not being circumcised? Yeah, he would, because he would send everybody to hell and kill everybody. That sounds like the devil. Genesis 7:14. The male whose flesh of his foreskin shall not be circumcised, that soul shall be destroyed out of his people, because he hath broken my covenant. And right there, the Illuminati are using a little bit of the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Because the facts are in the Bible about how God's the devil. You just got to read between the lines. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a time when I read the Bible, and I was actually getting inspired, and like I was having spiritual experiences and stuff. It was part of my enlightenment, but it wasn't the Bible and the God of the Bible that was doing that. It was me. In history, the dialectic of freedom brought brave people into conflict with tyrannical monarchs. The kings claimed to be God's anointed, implying that their tyranny was God-sanctioned. In the name of freedom, men and women overthrew these cruel and evil kings. So talking about like the French Revolution, which the Illuminati were responsible for, they actually overthrew the monarchy and were... but that wasn't able to go spread the whole way to be able to end the old world order. The kings claimed to be God's anointed, implying that their tyranny was God-sanctioned. In the name of freedom, men and women overthrew these... Okay, I already read that. But the struggle hasn't ended. Now the dialectic of freedom demands that heroic men and women challenge the ultimate slave masters, the cruel and evil gods themselves. Like Maximus in Gladiator says, I am a slave. What difference can I make? That has always been going through my mind. But for the past 8 years, I've been releasing myself from slavery into freedom with knowledge and not faith. Any God who is not in fact godly must be toppled as a tyrant and a liar. We have all of the evidence available to us. We have the revelations of these gods furnished to us by their chosen prophets. We have the evidence of their conduct and that of their followers. And so we can weigh the evidence and pronounce judgment on the gods. Just as the French people passed their verdict on the tyrant Louis the 16th, and he was justly overthrown in the name of the people. So any god who oppresses the people must be overthrown too. So, kings and stuff were divinely appointing themselves, saying that it was God-given power and stuff like that. And then they were, there was a time where the people were actually able to start overthrowing the tyrannical monarchies. That has, they've been able to stop that from happening through the religious brainwashing, all the mind control, all the economic, control, political, all that stuff. They've been able to disempower the people, which the Illuminati are all about empowering the people. And, the people are actually getting more power because actually now the voice of the people has been heard with, Donald Trump being elected as president. And now the people are going to get more power, and as they get more power, they're going to see more of the corruption. And then that's going to be leading to revolutions. The social contract that binds the sovereign and the people and allows for any sovereign who fails to govern in their interest of the people to be deposed must be extended to the gods too. The only acceptable and permissible gods are those who never threaten, oppress, repress, punish, mistreat, enslave, and impose tyranny on the people. Any that do are false gods and must be deposed like that tyrannical kings of old. The human race now demands that God serves humanity, not the other way around. Not humans serving God. God serves humanity. We like when you're like, I am a servant of God. Like God is the servant of us. If any god refuses to act in interest of humanity, they must be resisted in their altars and temples pulled down. Humanity will no longer endure divine tyranny. Humanity has gained the most precious knowledge of all, that each of us is capable of becoming God. Hence we need not fear, worship, or obey any god who does anything other than extend a warm, helpful, friendly, and benevolent hand towards us. We have a God who suits our every need, the true God, Abraxas. We need no other gods, especially none that persecutes us, inflicts mad rules on us, and expects mindless, slavish obedience and groveling worship. Man, I love the Illuminati, dude. They tear it up. They tear it up. No, there's not one person that would want to be in a debate with someone from the Illuminati, because they would lose that debate on every single aspect. We are the human race. We will bow to none. We are gods in the making. We will have no gods that place themselves above us and call us inferior and slave. No one created us. We are eternal. We are the voice of the dialectic. We are evolution in motion. Before us stands the most glittering point of existence, the omega point of divine perfection. This is our destination. We will permit none to stand in our way and deny us the realization of our potential. So the omega point is the maximum, basically the point, the end point of the universe where the maximum potential and actualization is reached by the universe, which is a evolving organism, like self-thinking organism, that is evolving to its omega point, and then once it reaches the end, it goes around again. Ouroboros. Who are we? We are human beings. We will have gods who are on our side or no gods at all. Only Abraxas has proved himself true. He alone has never threatened human beings. He has never once acted the tyrant. He has never once demanded worship. The Americans got rid of unjust rule by the British. The French guillotined Louis XVI. The Russians shot the Tsar. If you attack God's anointed, you have also logically attacked God himself. So if you stand by what you did, you are impelled to pursue your fight for freedom to the ultimate source of tyranny. And if the ultimate source is God, will you not challenge him too, just as you challenge his representatives? America, do you stand by your fight for freedom against the monstrous British Empire? Look at the glories you have achieved on your own. France, was it wrong to pull down the arrogant king and his wicked queen who cackled, "Let them eat cake," when she heard the people had no bread to eat? Russia, do you want to have your neck under the heel of a brutal czar once again? Human beings who long for freedom are driven to defy all tyrants. And if they be gods, so what? Will we accept slavery because we are afraid? Or will we fight as we have always fought, for freedom, for dignity, for respect? Without those, what are we? There are those amongst us, the Abrahamists, who have declared their preference for slavery. They have betrayed the human race. They are animals, beasts of the field, not humans at all. A human being fights tyranny. If it's a government, he fights the government. If it's a king, he fights the king. So why should he stop at God? Is tyranny suddenly made acceptable because it is divine? Hear this. Above divine tyrants, there is a divine benefactor, Abraxas. He it is who beckons us on to ultimate freedom. In his name we shall conquer. We fear no tyrants, divine or otherwise. We will judge all tyrants, divine or otherwise. The devil shall have no power over us. Are we brave enough to put the God of Abraham on trial? Are we brave enough to fight tyranny, no matter its source? Yes, we are. We will not submit. We will not surrender. We will not bend the knee. We will not bow. We will not crawl and grovel. The God of Abraham is the torture God, the cosmic tyrant. We will never let him reign over us unopposed. The Illuminati have resisted him for millennia. We are still here. He has no power over us. All enlightened men and women can defy the torture God. So when they say millennia, they mean like back to the times of King Solomon, because King Solomon was the first unofficial Grand Master of the Illuminati, and the enemy was Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah. So what difference is there between earthly tyrants and divine tyrants, except that the latter are one level higher? The principle doesn't change in the slightest. If it's right to overthrow those who oppose us on earth, surely we must overthrow them in heaven too. Or does slavery become right because God mandates it? Slavery is never right. It is an obscenity, and any decent moral human being must fight it. So will you fight, or will you get on your knees and submit like a Muslim, the followers of the religion of submission? So, talked about Judaism a little bit, talking about Islam a little bit. It is the religion of submission. It literally means submission. And, the whole brainwashing of the Islam is like, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to pray 5 times a day. So you are always, your mind is never on anything but just praying to a tyrant, and instead of actually educating yourself. This is the supreme question of values. Should you be like a dog slobbering on your master's lap and begging for treats, or a human being aspiring to become God? You can't be both. You can't be a Jew and a human. You can't be a Christian and a human. You can't be a Muslim and a human. These are dogs in human bodies. They are trained to beg, bark, and bite. They stand on their hind legs and perform tricks. They spend their lives defining themselves with respect to their cosmic master. If dogs could create a religion, what would their God be? The supreme human master. So I know a lot of Christians that are hearing this are going to take major offense, and so Jews and Muslims. But it's like, it took me a while to get past the what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not harshness, but like the Illuminati are harsh because they have to shock people out of what they are in, and so they they're pretty harsh. But they're not hurting anyone. They're not, they're not forcing anyone to their religion. They're not killing people. They're not going into wars. So, but they are extremely harsh intellectually because they want smart people to be able to understand illumination. So, are you a dog or a human being? We define a human being as someone who serves no master, seeks no master, and will have no master. Who is the supreme enemy of humanity? We know him well. He first appeared in the pages of the Hebrew Bible. We will prove beyond any reasonable doubt that the God worshipped by the Jews is the devil, and therefore that Christians and Muslims, as the offspring of the Jews, are also devil worshippers. Isn't it remarkable? Over half of the world's population fanatically espouses the cause of Satan. Humanity can make no progress until it has overcome that part of itself that is continually drawn to Satanism. Just as many dogs have the worst possible masters, but still do anything to win the love and affection of the monster continually brutalizing them, so many human dogs worship the master who tortures and degrades them. The torture god of Israel rapes, murders, slaughters, pillages, plunders, persecutes, and massacres his way across the pages of the Jewish Bible. He sanctions slavery, child abuse, human sacrifice, abortion, theft, incest, crime on a grand scale, and genocide. He uses weapons of mass destruction, biological warfare, and he engineers natural catastrophes to further his ends. If the story of the Jewish God does not relate the biography of Satan, then it's hard to know what the devil could do that would outstrip in evil the work of God. Long ago, the quasi-Gnostic thinker Marcion of Sinope refused to accept the Old Testament as having any connection with the New Testament, since it was clearly impossible for God in one to be the same as God in the other, given that their respective messages were the absolute opposite. Where the God of the New Testament seemed to lay claim to a cosmic message of love, peace, nonviolence, tolerance, forgiveness, kindness, and compassion, the God of the Old Testament was warlike, savage, brutal, vain, narcissistic, cruel, merciless, unforgiving, violent, unjust, tyrannical, partisan, intolerant, and psychopathic. So, God of the New Testament and Old Testament, the same God. If they are the same God, then God is a lunatic. What of Nazism? Shocking though it may seem, Nazism was never anything than secular Judaism. The master race replaced the chosen people. Himmler replaced the high priest. The swastika replaced the Star of David. The Jews replaced the Canaanites and the Philistines as the enemy. The Nazi Party replaced the Jewish priest caste. The SS replaced the Temple Guard. The Reich Chancellery replaced the Temple. And Hitler replaced Jehovah and the Messiah. he was both rolled into one. Ein Volk and Reich. Ein Führer. One people, one land, one leader. The mantra of Nazism replaced one chosen people, one promised land, one God. The mantra of the Jews. Subconsciously, Nazism took all of the ingredients of Judaism and gave them an Aryan makeover. Alright, so that's the chapter. And, that was getting into basically Nazism definitely just taking all the ingredients of Judaism. So it's like the same thing. that they are definitely satanic. So the next chapter is called the Nuremberg Trials. Obviously, that's going to go over the Nuremberg Trials, but this whole book is about putting the God of the Bible, Torah and Quran, Jehovah, Allah, and Yahweh on trial. Like the Nazis were put on trial in Nuremberg. And holding him accountable for all of the atrocities that are actually contained in the Bible that God is responsible for. Which God is Satan. Which Satan is responsible for. So as a people, we have to put God on trial. And the Illuminati already have. So it's time. It's time to religiously wake up and see the light. And that is in illumination. So that's it. And until next time.